your host, Bree Tankersley, and we're very excited about this new show. It's a show that is produced totally by the media students at Gilmer High School. Each week we'll be airing this on ETC. This show focuses entirely on the Gilmer Bobcat football program, and I'll be bringing you weekly updates on the Bobcats throughout the entire football season, and I'll be interviewing different players and getting their take on the games. And then I'll be sitting down with one of my favorite Bobcats, my husband, head coach, Wesley Tankersley. Well, the Bobcats are off to a great start. They already have 2 wins under their belt, and they're hoping for a 3rd win as they hit the road against Southeast Whitfield this Friday night. But the season first opened up with a huge win, 45-6, against their big rival, the Fannin County Rebels. Just after the win, I sat down with Coach Tankersley to get his reaction to that first game. Get right to it. Let's talk about the first game of the season, because that's what we're really here to do. It was a really big win, and we've come a long way in a few years looking back, even just where we've come. So let's talk about that. It was 45-6, the big overall score against Fannin. What was your assessment over this game and kind of the team's performance on the first time out?
Well, yeah, the first game is always a very stressful football game, especially the week before. There's a lot of anxiety and nerves that go into it, and you never know as a coach what in the world is going to happen in the first game, and I think you kind of saw that at the first of the game.
We had 2 turnovers right away. We'll just go ahead and get that out. I know I personally got nervous. Everybody was kind of holding their breath there for a few minutes. So how did you kind of regroup, because you really did pull it together and come back really pretty quickly?
Like I said, you just kind of saw the jitters in the first game things there at the first. We had 2 quick turnovers, had some really good gains on offense, but turned the ball over and fumbled it back to the Rebels. But our defense really did a great job of not letting that bother them, and came around with a quick turnaround and got stopped Fannin in the first time in 8 plays, stopped them on a big 4th down play. Cameron Kephart came up and had a great play on 4th down and was able to stop their runner. And then we got the ball back again and fumbled it away again, and the defense had to go back out there. We caught a pretty good break there on that second drive as they tried to throw a halfback pass, and we were out of position, but they missed it. And then we made some more good tackles again there, and we did better with our ball, ball handling after that. So.
Well, I know you mentioned Connor Weber as the player that stood out. Were there any kind of surprises or unexpected players that really kind of stepped it up a little bit or surprised you? Or
I thought we had a great effort by a lot of kids. One of our players that really stepped up and had a good game for us was our nose guard, Cody Richards. He ended up being the defensive player of the week, and he really had a good game for us on defense. And offensively, Marlon Hensley did a great job of controlling the tempo of the game as the quarterback, calming everybody's nerves down, and just leading the team down the field, and had some great, we didn't have to throw the ball many times, but every time we did, it was for a big play. I know we averaged over 50 yards per pass completion. So that was a big thing there, and helped us get some big plays and some big scores, especially right there before the half.
Well, and let's talk about even halftime. I know you and I have talked, and whenever there's a big lead like that, I mean, I guess it would be, I would imagine, kind of hard to keep that momentum going. And I'm always asking him, what did you say to him at halftime, or what was your speech? But what is your strategy when you have a big lead like that, and then going into the half? I mean, anything can happen. We've talked about that, especially with young players. Sometimes you just never know. So what did you say?
Well, we've got a good group of kids, and I usually just try to draw off their experiences that they have had and things that I can remember. We talked about a game we had against Murray County 2 years ago, where we went in, had a huge lead at halftime. I think Jacob Teague had 4 touchdowns in that first half of that game. We had a huge lead. And they came out and got within 7 points of us because we just weren't mentally prepared. We thought we already had the game won, and we talked about that during halftime. and talked about that usually we stress this, usually that first drive of the third quarter is one of the most important drives of the football game. And Fannin got the ball first there in the second half, and I could tell we had a little bit of a letdown for 2 or 3 plays, but then the kids kind of stepped it back up and got some big stops, and we got the ball back and were able to go down and score again. So that was a big deal right there, and then we're able to get a lot of other kids in after that.
I noticed a lot of young players out there. It's kind of exciting to see some of even the freshmen that got playing time. You started stubbing in players, I guess, fairly early, and that has to feel good to be able to give them playing time and let them get as many.
Oh yeah, that's a great experience for some of the kids, and it really allows them to get some of that varsity experience and get some of that game speed going because it is different than being in practice. It's different than being in JV games. Things are moving a lot faster, and it kind of helps them adjust a little bit and does give them confidence if we do need to get some of those kids in during the season, because it is a long season and you're going to have injuries and things that happen. And we generally try to play as many kids as we can and get as much experience as we can, and that helps in the upcoming years as well.
And when we come back, I'm going to sit down with the starting quarterback for the Gilmer Bobcats this year, Marlon Hensley, so stay with us. Welcome back to the Bobcat Football Show. Well, the Gilmer Bobcats have some great leadership this year, and one of those leaders is Marlon Hensley, the quarterback for the Bobcats. I sat down with him after the win against Fannin, and this is what he had to say about the game. Right. You're kind of in, I guess, a leadership role. Like it or not, you're the quarterback. You've got your teammates there and others, younger kids that look up to you. So do you really take that responsibility seriously again?
Yes, I do. I like being somebody that the coaches and teammates can look up to and respect and trust.
Right. Well, this is good, too, because I do know you, and I know your family. I know you have great parents. They've done just a great job raising you and your sister as well. Do you have any family? Let's talk a little bit about that have played in the past. Or?
I have a couple of cousins that's played.
Right, so I guess you grew up going to ball games,
yes.
And now you're out there actually leading this team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about like next week. As you look ahead, I guess coming off a big win like that, it's exciting, especially when there's such a huge lead and the score ended up like it was. But how do you, every game's different, so how do you not kind of, I don't want to say get the big head, but how do you keep that focus? Because every game, it's different and anything can happen. So.
You really have to forget about last week's game and just look forward to this one.
Right. Coach Tank has a lot of different sayings, I know, that he uses to motivate you. And do you have any that kind of stand out as being your favorite? Or
The last play mentality is probably my favorite.
Really? And what does that mean to you?
Well, this being my senior year, it's just the most important to me because this is probably the last year I'll get to play football.
Right, exactly. Well, what are your plans after high school?
I plan to go to college and hopefully play baseball or football.
Yeah, because you also play baseball, right? What position do you play there?
I play shortstop and I pitch.
Okay, well, great. Well, I wish you the best of luck this year. I think you're an outstanding guy, and I look forward to seeing you play throughout the year. So thank you for being on here with us. Well, joining me now is Coach Tankersley, and we're very excited about our second win that we just had against Snorville. 31-0 ended up being the final score. I know you got to be very proud of all the Bobcats, and especially for the defense for being able to shut Snorville out. I just want to kind of get your take and your perspective on the team's performance.
Well, I thought we had a very good game. Very proud of the kids for how they responded after the Fannin game. Sometimes that win after a rival game can be tough to get just because the kids sometimes have a letdown, but they didn't have a letdown. They came out and played pretty well. We did have some things that we still need to work on, especially special teams wise. We had some things breakdowns there that we need to definitely work on this week as we go into our next game with Southeast Whitfield. But feel good with the kids' overall effort, and it's just I told the kids today at practice that I think they played well, but they can always do better, and we've got a lot of expectations for them, and just want them to continue to improve each and every practice.
Well, I know it's actually, now we have nice, cool fall weather out today, but it was pretty hot this last ball game. You had some cramping and things like that. How did those things kind of factor into, I guess, the performance? What do you do to prevent that?
Well, it was a little bit warmer this game than it was the first game, and really than it has been in a while. Really, this August has been you know, the past 3 or 4 weeks has been very, very mild. And I think Friday played a little bit of a toll early on, just because the kids hadn't been used to having 90-degree weather and the humidity the way it was, because the weather has been so nice. And I think both teams were a little sluggish coming out because of that. But, you know, I thought the kids, after a while, responded well, and once it cooled down a little bit, it didn't seem to bother them too much. I think we did have 1 or 2 that cramped a little bit, but, you know, for the most part, we didn't have too many problems.
Right, okay, well let's look ahead to this week. There's another game. I know when you go in, I guess, with 2 wins like this, how do you kind of, you know, you don't want to become overconfident too quickly, I'm sure. So let's talk about how you're getting them prepared this week, and, you know, making sure they are staying focused and still will be ready to play hard.
Well, we just continue to try to tell them that, you know, we have to take it 1 week at a time, and not to look too far ahead or too far behind. That, you know, we have proven before ourselves that you can't take somebody for granted. We've had some teams that have taken us for granted before, and we were able to come out on top when we probably didn't have as much talent as they did. You know, that's something we definitely draw on past experiences that we've had to try to help the kids mentally prepare themselves for the week ahead.
All right, let's talk a little bit just about this team that we're playing, and kind of what they look like. What's your perspective? I know you watch lots and lots of film, as we've discussed before, and you spend a lot of time preparing before the week even starts, the practice week starts with the players. So just give me your assessment of that team.
Well, we spent a lot of time on Sunday watching film of ourselves and of Southeast Whitfield. They are right now they're 0-2, but they've got some definite talent on the team. I think defensively they'll probably be the best team that we've faced. Offensively, they're a spread offensive team, which means they like to throw the ball, but usually they like to spread it out more to run it. They've got a quarterback that runs well. They've got a couple of good receivers to throw to. And they have some big guys on the line too, so it's going to be a challenge for us, and really hope the team responds to the challenge.
Well, I guess it's a road trip, not too far away, but it's always a little bit of a concern just keeping the players, I don't want to say focused, but you know how it can, I guess tend to get a little sluggish on a long road trip, but not too bad of a drive. But how do you kind of keep that?
Yeah, you know, it's the road trip isn't really bad enough to make much of a difference in this, you know, in this aspect. I don't think. You know, if you're driving 2 or 3 hours, sometimes I think that can play a toll on you. But you know, it's probably about 30 to 45 minutes away. And our team, and to be honest with you, usually sometimes has played better on the road than they have at home. You know, I don't know if it's less pressure or what, maybe less distractions during the day. I don't know. But sometimes we do play better on the road than we do at home. So, you know, I don't expect that to be a huge issue.
I hope not, and we hope we can continue wins both at home and the away games that we have this year. So good luck this Friday. And when we come back, I'm going to sit down with longtime coach, the Gilmer Bobcats defensive coordinator and assistant coach, Mark Pettit. So stay with us. Joining me now is the defensive coordinator and assistant coach, Coach Mark Pettit. And Coach Pettit, you have been doing this for a good little while now. I know you even had me in high school. So you've been doing. How long have you been doing this now?
It's my 28th year.
Well, congratulations. You're still just doing wonderful. You had a great game defensively, obviously, on Friday night. Were there any, I guess, plays or anything that kind of came at you that you weren't expecting? Or let's talk about kind of how you prepared for that game.
Well, we were fortunate it being the first game that we did have, you know, a little bit longer to prepare. And as far as anything that we weren't expecting, no. Of course, we've been playing Fannin for several years, and we expected them to run the option and to throw the ball a little bit. That's kind of been what they've done over the past several years. Right. So we felt like the kids were really prepared, you know, with everything that they saw.
Sure. Well, and let's talk about, you know, a big game like that. You said you've been playing them for years, but you know, each year there's different players that come in. They have a couple of strong players. How do you kind of mentally get your players, you know, ready? And for some of the big, I know they had the Satterfield kid that was pretty fast, so how do you kind of deal with that issue there?
Well, that's, you know, like you say, each week, you know, all teams, I guess, have those strengths and weaknesses, whether it be individual players or whatever. And you just try to make the kids aware of, here are the weapons your opponent has, and here's how they like to use those weapons, where they want to attack you and those sort of things. And just try to emphasize as much as you can, you know, how our kids, how our personnel can best offset their strength.
Sure, absolutely. Well, walk us through some of your starting defensive players this year, some of the strongest ones that we have. Let's talk a little bit about who they are. And I guess I asked Coach Tankersley this a few minutes ago, just kind of who stood out to you. If there was any unexpected players that kind of rose to the occasion, so to speak.
As far as I don't think I could say that anyone really stood out unexpectedly. We're fortunate that we do have a team that has a lot of experienced kids. We have some who haven't had the experience, but we still anticipated them playing well from what we've seen through the spring and up to this point. So I guess we were happy that they met the expectation that we had for them. As far as the strengths, our stronger players, you know, I feel like we've got a defense where there's not one or two. We really truly do have a defense that's throughout has its strengths, and you know, that's the bottom line. I think that's a great part of the success we had Friday, is those kids doing what they're coached to do, all 11 at one time, you know. But I guess that's the thing I'm the proudest about as far as Friday's concerned, the way they stepped up in some adverse situations, kept their poise, kept their focus, and it did their job.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and just look forward to this upcoming week against Sonoraville. I know they're kind of, from what I've even heard, is that they're trying to do a little bit different things on their offense. So let's talk about how you're preparing and getting ready for the game ahead.
Yeah, Sonoraville, it'll definitely be a little different than what we saw this last Friday. They're a spread offense. They throw the ball all over the field. So that's going to be a little bit different for us there. You know, and again, we've tried as best we can from our knowledge of what they do and what players they try to get the ball, you know, in their hands. We've tried to point that out to kids and some of the ways that they like to attack with that spread. And we'll continue to, you know, to just go over that as much as we can between now and Friday, and give the kids the best picture that we can of what to expect. Do
you see a lot of like individual strong offensive threats, or is it just pretty much you just focus as a whole at this point?
They have probably 3 or 4 kids in particular that they try to get the ball to, either running or passing. They've got a fullback that, whether, like I say, he'll run the ball some, but they'll swing him out in the flats and get the ball in his hands in open ground, and he's elusive. So we've got to do a great job of getting to the ball and get several folks there, keeping him hemmed up. And then they have a couple of receivers that seem to be, you know, kind of the favorite target of the quarterback. Not that he won't throw to the others, but it seems like he's had a tendency to throw to those guys a lot more. So we'll definitely be focused on those areas, and hopefully we can get to the quarterback a little bit.
Sure.
If you're a passing offense, you know, that's the guy you want to get to.
Okay. Well, I know you mentioned you've been doing this for quite a while now. Yeah. You've been here with Coach Tankersley throughout his career. What are kind of like, just, let's talk about what you've seen as far as just the improvements that we've made. I mean, if you look back to that first year against Span, and we've made a lot of improvements. So what's your take on that?
Absolutely. I'm tickled to death. I am. Just I guess the overall atmosphere, the overall expectation of the kids, the confidence of the kids. And I think that's a tribute to Wesley and his work ethic and his striving every day, you know, to get that across to the kids, and the kids responded to that. So it's been very pleasing for me to see that, all that transpire, and hopefully we can keep that going and take more steps in the future.
Well, I know you're very goal-oriented as well. Do you have any, what are your goals for this season? As we look ahead, and we're here at the very, very beginning, do you have any that you kind of set, or just pretty much the same with the team goals?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those team goals, you know, you always want to set your goals high, hour. I feel like you need to, you know, and if you fall a little bit short, you've gotten a little bit farther than maybe you would have. But I do feel like there's a lot of potential there for our kids and for this team, and you know, I'd like to take it a step farther than we did last year. Let's keep taking steps forward. Had a great season last year. Let's see if we can go a little bit farther with it. So hopefully that'll take place.
Sounds good to me. That sounds great. Well, I want to thank you personally, just being here on this show with us today. I want to thank you for all that you do for the program and within the community. You've been very well respected, and we just appreciate all your hard work. Thank you for being here. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this Bobcat football show. I would like to especially thank all the media students and Mr. Ryan Hart at Gilmer High School for producing the show, and also to ETC for allowing us to bring you this show each and every week. The Bobcats will be on the road again this week against Southeast Whitfield, and then they'll be at home again the following week for the Dalton game. And ETC3 will be bringing you that game live right here on ETC. If you have any questions for the Gilmer coaches or players that you would like for me to ask here on the show, then feel free to email them to us at bobcatshow@ellaj.com. Or you can also check out our website, and be sure to check out the Facebook page as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.
His pass is complete. Number 25, Colt Henderson, brought down by number 12, Matthew Slissico. Short gain brings up 3rd and 30. Hensley's pass falls incomplete, brings up 4th down and 30. Fumble is recovered by Gilmer County. Number 34, Tyler Bertolini, brought down by number 64, Jake Whitlock. 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9.